when I told you guys that most of the suppliers or most of these factory didn't learn this hair business as a profession, they just learned it as a business. And there's a difference between learning something as a profession and learning something as a business, because there are actually terms, scientific terms that are being given to these hairs or to identify hairs in this certain way that some of these factories or most of these factories have not yet adapted. Even if they have adapted it, they adapted it in a very wrong and misleading way that if you don't understand it, there will be so much contradictions. That is why there is a lot of contradictions on this particular topic, and here I am to talk about it. Now let's go and dive into the biological aspect of this hair business. I told you guys that strand thickness is how thick or thin an individual strand is. And I also stated that there are three levels of strand thickness, which are the fine strands, medium strands, and coarse strands. I told you guys that fine strands are thin strands, sleek and shiny. It can shine naturally and is mostly found in loose wavy units and straight hairs. You understand? And I also stated that it does not actually mean that you cannot find all these strands in other regions of the world, but I just stated some countries that it is majorly found. You get that now. When we want to talk about that topic about other regions, talk about it. But majorly now, let's talk about the regions that are big, that are selling and selling their hairs out to people. You get. And I also stated that they are medium strand. Medium strand is more visible, but it's not coarse. You understand? It's versatile. You can curl it, you can straighten it. It has medium cortex. You understand now? It has more coil memory than that of a fine hair because of how the cortical is. You get that now. Then for coarse is thick. It has a thicker diameter. It's thick and it's strong and it has a bigger cortex. You get that now. So where is baby 10 now falling in? Baby 10 fall under fine hairs. But now baby 10 is labeled on its own as an ultra fine hair. You get that now. And baby 10 is an ultra fine hair and is also flexible, is also fragile. That is why they actually labeled it as baby 10. You get that. Baby 10 is commonly found in young donors, but strand thickness is identified by diameter, not just by age. The reason why age is added there is just so that people can think of the age history or the hair history, because people think that getting hairs from younger people or young adults or young donors can still retain the hair quality, because they feel like adults must have undergone different stress or different lifestyle check that will affect the quality of their hairs. So adding age to it just want to show you the quality of the hair, like the history of the hair, that the hair has not undergone much stress, it has not undergone much chemicals or even any chemicals, because they think that children from that age have not really been opened to life like that. Scientifically, hairs are measured in diameter, usually in microns. That is, baby teen hair is 40 to 50 microns. Ultra sleek and thin, very soft and lightweight. Fine hairs is 50 to 60 microns. Still soft and thin, like still soft and thin, but it has more thicker cortex than a baby teen. Baby teen hairs is highly or is majorly found in inches like 14 to 16 inches. Anything beyond that is rare. When I mean rare, I mean extremely rare. And it's not just about the fact that it is gotten from young donors and things like that. It's because of how delicate the strand is. The strand is thin and is likely to break. It's fragile. The cortex in it is not as much as that of a fine strand. And most of the hair sold in the industry now is fine strands, not baby tin. You get that? Baby tin is just a marketing strategy. But in terms of reality and biologically, baby tin hairs are very, very delicate. And in terms of ventilating closures with baby tin hair, is close to not being that possible, because not everybody wants to handle that because of how thin and how delicate baby tin hair is. You get that now? So fine hair also has thin strands, but the cortex is thicker than that of the baby tin. You understand? Baby tin own is smaller. You get that? That is why it can actually it can actually lift to 613 very, very easily and very, very fast. But the longevity is slim because of how thin the cortex is. You get that now? So some factories, they actually use fine hairs. And for fine hairs, you can actually get fine hairs from 6 inches down to 40 inches. But baby tin hair is very, very rare. Fine hairs, you can get fine hairs from 6 inches to 40 inches. But the other inches, let me say from 40 inches, let me say 30 inches downwards, is actually like not very in much supply. You get that? The supply is not much because people that grow their hair that long are not much. So it is a little. You get. So most of the hairs that are being sold here as baby teen hairs are not really baby teen hairs. They are actually fine hairs. Due to industry have adapted the name baby teen, they now call most of the fine hairs in the industry baby teen. And fine hairs majorly, I told you guys that fine hairs is majorly found in Philippines and also in India. You get that now. And also you can also find fine hair in Vietnam, like Burma, all these countries that people supply hairs from, like all these countries that people are majorly getting their hairs from. You can find fine hairs there. But I mentioned Philippines and India is because of how dominated it is there. You understand now? So that's just it. So most of the time, those sleek hairs and ultra thin hairs that you see on the internet today are fine hairs, not baby thin hairs. Baby thin hairs can't grow long. It can't get long because of how thin the diameter is. You get. I told you guys that hair strands are measured by diameter, not just by looking at it. And hardly do most of these factories even have their machines. They measure it with stethoscopes and other things. You get that. So hardly do these factories get it. So when they see thin hairs like that, they assume that it's a baby thin hair, but actually it's a fine hair. You get. That is where all the controversy came from. You get. And I hope that I've clarified this particular topic a little bit, and I might just throw more light on it in my next video just so that everybody can understand it perfectly well. Thank you.